any of the statements, but it reflected a shift in his emphasis on the objectives of the war from regime change to something that's more modest or achievable through conventional military means. So I think it wasn't so much anything Iran as a regime or as a country or as a government did so much at.
As a national security advisor in the first administration, General, always good to see you. So, despite this extension, the threat of U.S. strikes on Iranian energy facilities is not off the table. The markets have been extremely volatile over the past couple of days in the wake of not just these strikes that we've seen throughout the course of the last week or so, but with the president's threat. Although oil prices fell dramatically after the president made the announcement that he was going to hold off on striking those oil facilities. So why would the United States strike those oil facilities, given the huge economic repercussions it would have, not just for the Iranians, of course, but also here at home?
Well, it's great to be with you, Adriana. I think the real reason for this kind of back and forth is that President Trump is trying to ensure that Iran doesn't continue to attack critical infrastructure in the Gulf and to threaten them with greater destruction of their own oil and gas facilities and their power plants. Remember, that's another aspect of this. So that they will desist from their attacks on shipping in the Straits of Hormuz and against critical infrastructure in the Gulf. Just for what it's worth, I don't think that's going to work. And the reason is what the Iranian regime wants to do is they want to keep the keys to the Straits of Hormuz for coercive purposes. They want to continue to coerce their Gulf, their partners, or allies, neighbors, and Israel with these long-range ballistic missile and drone capabilities, but then also be able to have this effect on the global economy. And I think that's an unacceptable outcome for President Trump and now the Gulf states and Israel and a growing coalition against Iran.
General, isn't Iran's potential control of the Strait of Hormuz, wasn't that the most obvious card they had to play here? Why is it that it seems that the U.S. was not prepared for this?
Well, Adriana, we actually were prepared for it. I don't know where this narrative came out. It was a big surprise. I mean, we do an annual exercise with up to 30 countries and about the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and how to reopen it. And so what you're seeing in the campaign now, and I think this is really important to understand, is a continuation of the joint, the combined force of the U.S. and Israel prioritizing the missile and the drone capabilities, including their manufacturing capabilities, including their ability to reconstitute their missiles and drones with support from Russia and China. There are a couple of ships sailing right now with solid fuel from China out of the Iran. And you saw the IDF in the last 48 hours striking ships in the Caspian Sea, the far north of Iran, because Russia was smuggling drones into Iran to reconstitute their capabilities.
General,
so that's